Welcome to Getting Down to Business. I'm Jill Brown, Academic and Career Advisor for the Mooma College of Business. And this is my partner, Ashley Curtis.
Hi, everyone. As you know, I'm your career counselor and internship coordinator, and we host your career podcast where we bring on different Tampa Bay area employers and leadership opportunities throughout the Tampa Bay area.
And today we are getting rowdy because we have two members of the Tampa Bay Rowdies team with us, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Grossman. I am manager of ticket sales and service with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, my 6th year with the club, and very excited to talk with y'all today.
I'm Nick McDaniel, account executive ticket sales with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Back down St. Pete and ready to go.
Awesome. Nick, Joe, thank you both so much for being here. First thing I want to ask you is, do you have a favorite quote or mantra that inspires you?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's one I think of every day, but when I read it, I kind of went with it today, which is over-analysis leads to paralysis. So that one is, I think, a golf term, maybe translated into business. I would say it's like fine to maybe make some mistakes, but also you don't want to dwell on things too long. So just kind of keep going with it.
Exactly.
My favorite quote comes from one of my favorite movies, Remember the Titans, and its attitude reflects leadership. No matter what position you are, you got to always check yourself and make sure you're bringing the right attitude. That way you're positively affecting everyone around you.
Mm-hmm. And I like this team focus that we're going to have today because it doesn't matter what position on a team. Every position is valuable. So great quote. Love them both. We're going to do a little word association game. Whatever comes to mind, and we'll just bounce them back and forth, okay?
All right.
Joe, I'll start with you. Talent.
Natural ability, ability to kind of maybe morph into any situation easily.
Yeah.
Nick, ironic about your quote, leadership.
Attitude.
No, no, just kidding. Yes, whatever comes to mind.
It.
And the last word is success.
Whatever you define it as, being able to accomplish your job every day, or just have a positive attitude on life, maybe.
Right, it is individual. So true.
Yeah. Nick, collaboration.
Teamwork. So yeah, collaboration, always making sure that you're bettering yourself, and a lot of times that's by bouncing ideas off of teammates, off of classmates, whoever.
Awesome. Love it. So let's get down to business. Thank you guys so much for playing. Nick, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came to the Rowdies?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Ohio, went to Ohio University and majored in sports administration. Made my way down to St. Petersburg in 2019, and I was with Tampa Bay Rays, taking a ticket sales rep position with them. Unfortunately, right around the middle of that program, COVID hit, so moved back up to Ohio for a little bit while sports industry cooled down a bit with everything going on. But then luckily had the great relationship with the Rays and the Rowdies, with it being the same ownership, and got the call to come back down here.
Joe?
Yeah, so from Richmond, Virginia originally. Grew up in a very sports conscious family. My dad has a couple businesses related to sports, so kind of just growing up around that, understanding what he did, and then big soccer player my whole life as well. Went to college at California University of Pennsylvania, which is not in California. It's in outside of Pittsburgh. Went there, played for a couple seasons, and then transitioned into just sport management program. And between that, went to Charleston for a summer to work for another USL championship team there. After I graduated, came down and worked for USL, which is a league that the Rowdies are in. And within a year, kind of transitioned over into the Rowdies sales department, and have worked in a couple of different positions, going from account executive to group sales manager to now managing the department. So it's short and sweet of it.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing your journeys. And this is a first, I think, that our guests have both been involved or majored in their field, and then it transitioned into a career. So, and this is a topic near and dear to me. I played sports in high school, not really college, not quite that level, but love it, watch it all the time. And I know we have so many students. I mean, it's Tampa Bay after all, right? So we've got so many interested in having maybe an advanced career in professional. So if you don't mind maybe talking to our listeners about how they can break into this industry.
Yeah, you just have to go out and get it. I mean, the sports industry is probably not going to be the most lucrative in your first position. You can kind of maybe combat that by going into sales. I know a lot of young students getting out of college don't really understand that that's probably the quickest way in. Generally the largest department with the most opportunities coming around. So I would say just dive right in. Don't be afraid to, just because it's sales, you're selling a great experience, and it's something that everyone would love.
Right. They're selling what they love or passionate about.
Exactly.
So that makes it kind of easy.
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot of it is just experience, getting yourself out there, getting people within the industry to know who you are. You guys are all pretty lucky to having so many different sports teams around the area. Volunteer opportunities with the Rays, the Bucks, the Lightning, the Rowdies, whoever it may be. And then, just putting the hours in, getting that resume built, and then showing face, like I said before, with having people recognize you. It's huge.
Internships.
And who can help them with these resumes and internships, should I even ask?
So I think you're starting to get into it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about the types of events, activities, and recruiting activities that the Rowdies offer?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we're right down the street, so we're never more than an email or phone call away, and we've worked with many different professors and leadership here at USF St. Pete. So maybe just start by asking your professor if they maybe know myself, Nick, whoever. But we have a really great relationship with the chambers in the area. So any networking events related to the St. Pete Chamber, the Tampa Bay Chamber, whichever chamber's around.
Often, when people hear, Tampa Bay Rowdies, right? Either the first thing that comes to mind is like the soccer players, right? And without realizing there's a whole industry behind, getting to the game. And so, things like what you do with sales management and concessions, all of those different facets are really important roles.
Yeah, and even on a larger scale, the Rowdies are owned by the Rays, so It's a very good entry into what is a 400 plus person company that operates Tropicana, the Rowdies at Al Lang, Port Charlotte for spring training, and probably other hundreds of more, minor league facilities throughout the country.
Right. I was going to say it's moving well beyond Florida and this county to across.
Yep.
Okay. And that touched on a point we'd like to emphasize, which is, this is open for any type of major or career that a student might be looking, because a lot of times, again, they're looking at athletics or business management, administration, but you're looking for students from a variety, right?
Yeah, I mean, we work with Bayfront and Baycare for like a lot of our athletic training programs as well. Okay. So anyone trying to get into the medical field, I mean, that's a whole nother side of the business. I mean, anything else Nick can think of, but
yeah, I mean, there's so many different avenues that you can go even outside of the sports aspect of it. Even if you're just looking at getting into videography or some sort of social media type.
That makes me think of like English and writing and public relations, which may not be under the College of Business, psychology, sports psychology, huge field.
Yeah, definitely the communications department and public relations department do a lot of the press releases and things like that they wouldn't let me touch. I'd probably butcher it.
And sales takes all types. So yeah. Do you want to speak about that? A career in sales or even just a journey at the Rowdies, what that would look like?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had an idea when I got into it what I would be doing. I don't know if I knew to what extent I'd be doing it, but traveling around all over Tampa Bay region, going to different youth soccer complexes to try to sell tickets to those coaches and managers and which is a massive industry in itself. It's also just, relationship building. You have to make people trust you and, agree to come out to the Rowdies game, and you're taking people's money. So, there's that relationship aspect of it is huge.
Yeah, definitely. So the biggest part that I've been enjoying here recently is the youth soccer aspect of it. We recently just had a match with probably 800 kids out there and a huge rally tunnel line all the way down to the midfield line. So just being able to build the relationships, it's not necessarily pushing the sale on them. It's getting them to come out and have a great experience and, create those memories with the kids. And that's huge for kids growing up and, looking to get into the sport themselves.
Yeah. Nick, you touched on the question I was going to ask. So, Joe, I'll ask you, what do you love most about working at the Rowdies?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm a soccer fan through and through, grew up a sports fan, and I just love being part of a team and being able to lead a team of, young professionals like Nick and the rest of our crew over at Outlang. But the final product, game night, Saturday night, 7,000 people in the stadium, and feeling like, there's the action on the field, but the environment around it is something we had such a big part in. Makes me proud every time. So
that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Nick, did you want to add anything else?
Piggybacking off what Joe was saying is, just the difference that you can see when you put in that hard work and that you've done a good job for a game with, selling however many seats. It makes a world of difference just with the entire environment. The players notice it, the fans notice it that come to all the games. So it's just huge in trying to build a really good experience every single time.
Yeah, so many key words. You mentioned experience, and it's not just for the players, it's your experience too, and your excitement and energy, the crowd, especially tapping into the youth and then building this love that can continue to develop over time. And anyway, that word, relationships, trust, and then team. You're part of a sales team.
Yep.
So that team environment continues. So working on a team as you grow up, playing team sports, these are skills. And that's something that I wanted to ask, what are you kind of looking for when you're looking at either volunteers, but hopefully interns or someone to work for the organization? What type of skills?
I want somebody who, one, is, excited. Just being excited about the opportunity is the first thing. You're probably not going to get past the first interview if you're not. But someone that just has a love for sports, has a love for relationship building. For me, the most important thing is also just being able to kind of be nimble and do what you're asked, even though maybe it's something that came up, yesterday. And I said, hey, this is a good opportunity to one of my reps. You want to go to this networking event? I know it's a 24-hour notice, but here you go. And he said yes and was able to, it was a pretty good opportunity to network, but, you have to kind of be able to be fluid in that sense.
I like that word, nimble. Yeah. You want to add anything?
Yeah, I'd say being malleable, kind of similar to what Joe's saying. And like the Rowdies aren't the biggest organization out there. So a lot of the game day or game week responsibilities, you wouldn't necessarily think would fall into your department, but if it's asked upon you, then it just having the skill set and willingness to step up and take that responsibility goes miles.
Great. So what prompted you both to get into sales?
So didn't really think that's what I was going to do when I was getting out of college, and I started my internship with the league, but eventually I worked my way into the club services department, and my mentor there, explained to me that it was the quickest way to get in. I think it's the quickest way to make an impact and be able to kind of show yourself throughout the organization. If you want to go into marketing, we're doing a lot of that on a day-to-day basis. If you want to do operations, that's another thing that we kind of have a hand on during game days. So just to it's a really good starting point, and you can really show what you can do, and you'll learn a lot of different things on a day-to-day basis. So.
Awesome, Nick.
Yeah, and then sales is definitely something that I wasn't looking into doing when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do within sports. Kind of went into college with a blank mindset of I want to do sports, but I'm not sure what.
Mm-hmm.
And then career advisors, kind of advised me, this is the way to get in, get your foot in the door. So did several different internships, game day operations, tournament operations, and then eventually came back around to sales and found that it's something that I did enjoy with building the relationships and getting myself out there and building up my own confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a very quantitative field where you're able to show your results, and then you can go wherever after that if you're able to succeed in sales.
Awesome. Yeah. Sales, I think, is a really good basis for communications and laying that groundwork. And so then once you were in sales, it sounds like you had the opportunity to have conversations with different departments to then better identify where you wanted to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of our main things is putting on theme nights, right? And you sell the groups, but you're also communicating with the marketing department and the game day ops department about what's needed for pregame, what type of halftime recognitions you're going to give to whoever it is. So you're really communicating across all departments, and sometimes the sales part of it is that sort of linchpin that connects everything. So it's in that way you're learning all the sides of it.
That's what I was going to say. You kind of have your fingers in a lot of different areas, and it's a good start. I like the creative. You have opportunities to be very creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely have to have some initiative and drive. And again, that's carryover from any athletics that you may have ever played in your life.
Yeah.
All right. We have 2 final questions that we ask all our guests. So if you could go back and give your college self career advice, what would it be?
You start first. You're more recent.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be more active. I was working in college probably around 30 hours a week, as well as doing the full workload. And even with that, still left myself some time for social activities, but probably didn't allow myself to get as involved in different clubs or organizations as I should have. Because, when going into career fairs and stuff like that, that's something that they are looking for. Are you able to juggle all these different tasks while you're taking your classes? So
Multitask.
As much as I was involved in the summer with doing my internships, it's very important during the year that you're still being involved.
I almost want to be like, we will run that on repeat. Get involved, be active. No, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I think my sport management department where I went to school did a very good job of the practical type of things. I think something that I wish I did more of was communicate with my professors. Maybe just so they understood where I was coming from, and maybe getting certain projects done quicker so you could run that by them. It's something I think, to go back to my quote, if nowadays I'll get something done, I'll lay out a framework and I'll ask people for advice on it. Back then it was like, okay, I was procrastinating and maybe not getting as much advice or as much input as I needed from, the outside. So I would just say communication with your professors and then that helps going forward, on the networking side of things.
Right,
as well.
so true.
Having a relationship more personal.
Yes, and they'll definitely give you feedback. They're not shy, and they are a resource for your career.
Of course.
I mean, they're experts in their field typically.
They know a lot of people.
Exactly.
So what is the best way for our students to connect with you?
I'm a big LinkedIn guy. That's definitely, find me, Joe Grossman, on LinkedIn. Ask, if you have any questions about what I do or how you can get involved. Good place to start. I'm always pushing my team to be social selling on LinkedIn and connecting with people and start building your network.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, same. Nick McDaniel on LinkedIn. Feel free, reach out, connect, message me. I'm more than happy to set up a meeting with anyone interested in, what the next steps are and how to get your foot in the door. I am a little bit more recent than Joe out of college, so it's a lot more memorable for me, I guess.
Oh,
Great,
we forgot
thanks.
to ask them about their pitch, or is there a
Okay.
call out that we should do as we exit this podcast? A little chant, something?
No, I mean, I'll go with the elevator pitch,
Okay.
right? Like so when I'm talking to somebody and we're at a networking event and I'm trying to explain who the Rowdies are, for instance, it's, come out with your family. It's 2 hours of your time. And if you want to put some time on the front end to go downtown St. Pete, get some lunch, get some dinner, whatever it is with your family, you're going to be in and out. You're going to be home before 10 o'clock, depending on where you live. It's not baseball. It's not football, where you're going to be, baking in the sun or, sitting inside all day. So
Right.
it's a fun atmosphere. The Rowdies take over downtown St. Pete on a Saturday.
They
and you can
do.
feel it.
Yeah.
So you just want to be part of that action. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, very similar. So it's very family friendly, but it's gotta be one of the most exciting atmospheres down here in St. Pete. You can't have a better location than right there on the water,
Mhm.
downtown St. Pete. So it's a very easy sell for people if you just paint the picture for them.
Great. Thank you both. It's really been a pleasure having you on set with us today. Stay tuned. Be sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll see you next week.